Hello everyone and welcome to another snapshot update video, and today with probably the most awesome snapshot ever. And I really mean ever. This is insane. Dinnerbone and Jeb added so many new redstone features that we just, I will just directly start just listing them. And there's so many new possibilities that just my brain pretty much exploded when I downloaded this snapshot. That's actually a quote from Sethbling, but it fits into my situation as well. So yeah, over here you just see one example of the new item processing systems which are possible. This was set up by Wooby. They're just storage minecarts which collect a sponge block, and they lose it every time over here. When they drop it into this hopper, the hopper fills this dispenser in, and the dispenser just dispenses the item back again when it triggers the detector rail over here, and then the item gets flushed into this hopper again. And yeah, to the hopper, I will just talk about the hopper in a moment again. And yeah, it fills back up the system here. So this is an infinite loop and looks absolutely awesome. But as you can see, we tried a lot of stuff with this snapshot already, and we found out so many cool and new features that we just listed them on this line here. And so I will go through it now and yeah, just tell you and show you everything bit by bit. Let's go. Okay, let's begin. We are at the start of the Redstone Walkway of Fame, and Cube Hamster joined us as well, by the way. Hi, man.
Yo, hey, man.
And
Happy New Year.
yeah, so here are the probably also very new features, but the less interesting ones, but still extremely awesome, I think. Yeah, Promise is already throwing items onto the iron pressure plate, and this iron pressure plate features that it increases the power level of the output. Sorry, I actually collected the items every 42 items. So one item already means power level 1. But as soon as he drops almost a stack on it, you will see that the next redstone wire will also turn on. And yeah, over there. And the same is with the golden pressure plate, but in this case you only need 4 items. It's actually very simple. 10 stacks of items mean full power on the iron one, and 1 stack means full power on the golden one. Yeah, and how do you craft them? I actually didn't check.
2 iron, 2 gold.
What?
Yeah.
2 ingots, I guess?
Ingots. Yeah, 2 ingots.
Like pressure plate, just with
iron or gold.
Okay,
Yep.
Good to know. Yeah, for the redstone block, I was really excited when I saw this in the changelog. Here you can see the crafting recipes for the 2 pressure plates. Awesome. Because, yeah, this was something Cube and I wanted to have into the game for a long time, and it will definitely make a lot of interesting stuff possible. So obviously it acts as a redstone torch which you can push, and the crafting recipe is 9 redstone dust. Yeah. That means you can now compact the redstone dust as well if you go mining, which is really awesome. And it also has some other properties. It's a transparent block, but it's still, you can't see through it, so it acts like glowstone. So over here you can see I have an X-ray device which is made with this new redstone block. And also you can still place levers and rails and other stuff on top of it, and as well as redstone, which also means that unfortunately it's not spawn proof, as you can see over here. So we still don't have any spawn proof rail block for the nether, but yeah, it's still absolutely awesome. And yeah, also this rail placement and lever placement makes many new stuff possible as well, of course. Over here we got the light sensor block. And this is also a new block. Does anyone know the crafting recipe of it? Okay, over here we have built up the recipe of the light sensor block. Need 3 wooden half slabs at the bottom. Then this new ore, which you can now find in the nether, and it's actually very common, but I guess other snapshot videos also showed this to you. And 3 glass blocks at the top. And here's the ore. You can see it. You can harvest it with any pickaxe, even with a wooden one, and you will get one of these new ore blocks. I guess they are called quartz.
Yeah, nether quartz.
Nether quartz, yeah. And they are definitely awesome. And let's check out what you can build with this. So here's the light sensor, and the light sensor only detects sunlight, so no block light. If I would place a torch in between and you will see the light sensor itself won't turn on. But if I open this ceiling here, the redstone lamps in the back here turn on because they are just all hooked up to a line of redstone here, and below there are repeaters. And I can now change the daylight by just simply turning on another repeater. And you can see the further out I go, at the top here there's just a hole, and this daylight is leaking in from over here. The weaker the signal gets, and that's simply because it actually detects the daylight strength as well. So it's an analog detector, definitely very awesome, but at the same time very buggy. And maybe we can show this you later, but we got some very weird just coincidences where it turned on when there was no light and turned off when there was sunlight. But I guess it will be fixed anyway, because this is all work in progress, of course. And now let's check out the next new feature, and that's the trapped chests. Over here, you can see a normal chest, or it actually just looks like a normal chest, because there's a slight difference. If you actually check the texture, it's a little bit reddish around the opening lock. And this, is a locked chest. So if I open it, or maybe, Tube is already opening it, just keep it open. He will trigger the first repeater, and the more people are opening it, the stronger the signal gets. So for each person which is opening the chest here, the signal strength increases by 1. So you can detect up to 15 people here. And
that's actually really awesome. I didn't know that.
Yeah. I don't know what could be useful for this. I wonder if we will ever have 50 people activating the same chest.
Oh, like a system where you need 4 people to open a door, like by actually
that
opening
would be
the same
interesting.
chest.
Yeah, that would be interesting. Yeah, but
Don't give away your ideas, Q.
That's just one of the many possible ideas. Over here you can see how it's crafted. Just put a tripwire hook either left or right from the chest in the crafting inventory. And here's another huge advantage of it. You can directly stack those chests with the normal chests together. So if I just alternate the trap chests and the normal chest, you can have the most compact storage room you could ever imagine. And so this is really, really, really compact and useful for any kind of storage room. And I think, that pretty much covers everything about the trap chests over here. We got a bad example what you can do with it. And the item frame still popped out, unfortunately.
The item frames all over the place. Look over here as well. Awesome.
And Panda is quickly in rebuilding, and to show the next super awesome and also pretty buggy block, and that's the hopper. With the hopper you can process items, and it has its own inventory, just 5 slots, and therefore it also needs a chest for the crafting recipe. As you can see, it's actually not iron but stone. I don't know if this will be the final recipe, but currently in the snapshot it's made out of stone. And when you drop an item into the center, can you quickly try to drop one, Thomas? Thank you. It will get sucked up. And if there is any item or anything which can hold another item, it will get processed to this as well. So dispensers, furnaces, obviously chests, and minecarts, and that includes all types of minecarts. It's just another bug here. Let me quickly show this. If I place a normal minecart in here, the hopper will also process the items into the minecart, because it also has the internal space for saving those items. And if I break the minecart, they will all pop out. So, although this is not a storage minecart, obviously this will probably get fixed. I never actually tried out the beacon.
You can fill that in too.
It works.
Wow.
Okay, so
you can actually activate it.
You can trigger it with that. Yeah, that's really awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brewing stands work too as well. Work as well, by the way.
Yeah, brewing stands.
Can you move them with pistons?
I guess no, because they have an inventory.
No.
That's true.
Okay. And you can imagine that there are so many possibilities with this. There will be the super most fancy item processing systems you have ever thought of. Any kind of item sorting system, probably. This will all be possible with this hooker. So this is probably the the biggest advantage addition, I guess, actually to the game.
We have hookers now in the game as
hookers?
well.
Hoppers. I always mess up the words. Anyway,
I already talked with Dinnerbone a bit. He said he's gonna add filtering options as well, so it's gonna be cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
okay. Well, what did Dinnerbone say? I didn't get it. Sorry.
He's gonna add filtering options, like where you can filter certain items.
That makes it much easier.
That makes it actually too simple, in my opinion. But anyway,
Yeah.
let's go on. I think. Just another feature of the item hoppers here. You can see this fish is swapping around in the 4 hoppers here because they are aligned in a circle, which is pretty interesting and just shows the possibilities of this. And here is the next block. This is actually probably the most complicated one, and it's the Cooperator. Let's go.
Okay, here you see the recipe for the new Cooperator block. Awesome redstone block, very complicated, but well, we'll see. We have 3 redstone torches, 3 smooth stone, and redstone component number 1 for the moment from the snapshot, the nether quartz. You can see an actual comparator lying down. By right-clicking it, you can switch between 2 functions. If our front torch is off, it's an actual comparator. So for that, let's start here. We have an input from behind, that's our input A, and an input from the side, that's B. And let's say I turn this lever on. That means our comparator gets a signal strength of 14 from behind, 15, 14. And if I turn this lever on, it gets 15, 14, 13, 12, 11 from the side. And now it compares the strength it gets from behind with the signal strength it gets from the side, and it sees that the signal from B is weaker than the one from A, and that means it can just output the signal from A from behind. If I would turn on this lever, that means that B is equal to A, and it still could output the signal. Now let's assume I make this lever on and turn this on. That means that the input from B is stronger than the one from A. And so it acts like a locked repeater and doesn't output anything at all. The second function would be a subtractor. You can see it by the active torch in the front. Now let's input a signal strength of 15 from behind and one of 14 from the side. You can see nothing happens at all. That's because for this mode you also need another comparator which inputs from the side. So when I now enter a signal of 14 in here, you will see that only one repeater gets on here. That's because our signal of 15 here gets subtracted by the signal from the side here, 14, and the output is a signal of power 1. If I would use signal of just 15, 14, 13 in here, we get 2 or 3. And of course, if I make this signal weaker, we start only with 14. And if I now subtract 14, we get 0, 1, 2, and so on.
Yeah, that's the comparator. Wow.
That's the comparator. Nicely explained, Wooby.
Yeah,
Applause. Yay.
I can't clap and press push the top at the same time.
Good job.
Now let's come to the bugs of the new added redstone features, and there are actually plenty of bugs, but we will list them now and show you all these bugs so that they get fixed as soon as possible. Over here you see a hopper which is simply attached to a furnace, and there are just 2 random blocks in the furnace slots and emeralds in the right slot. And the hopper does, it actually, if the other 2 slots are blocked, processes the items directly into the output slot, which means that I can get XP all the time. So you see they are slowly getting processed here, and I'm survival mode and I can just get XP and fill them up back into the top, and so infinitely gain levels here, which is absolutely awesome. And now let's just show you this in a turbo mode action here. So are you ready for level 30 in 20 seconds? Go! And you see it's extremely quick, and after this process you could simply, we already reached level 30 here, fill them all back in. Obviously this is a bug and will get fixed soon. Just to show here, you can now drop all these emeralds back into the water stream if you wanted to, and then they would automatically get filled into the dispensers again, and therefore this is an auto-refilling XP farm, fastest available in Minecraft so far. And yeah, very cool, but obviously not intended. And over here you can see some very, very strange torches. And these torches here actually work and don't update. If you place a torch and remove the block which is where it is attached to, the torch currently does not pop out. And yeah, this allows for very interesting concepts here. So yeah, over here you can see I can directly invert the torch by just powering it, the floating torch here. These torches are all inverted, and therefore the signal travels up just as in a normal torch tower, but there are no blocks in between. Very interesting. And the same happens at the side here. But these torches are obviously not connected to each other because they are attached to the block behind, so it doesn't work to invert the signal over here. This is also pretty interesting. The redstone power block does power this redstone wire here, but it does not invert the torch unless I place another block over here, because then the wire actually points into this torch here. But since this is a bug, it will get changed anyway. But just to mention it, this is pretty interesting behavior. And they tried to improve on the hash set problems, but obviously there are still some bugs in here. Over here we got a chain of the new comparators, and since they actually shouldn't have a delay, but in this case they do have sometimes, and that's the bug, this pretty much acts like an instant wire. And if I turn this lever on, you can see that the first set of these comparators actually turns off instant. Maybe it turns on instant. It's probably better to show this at night. Okay, you can see the first line turns on instant, but the last few have actually a delay of 1 game tick in between, and that's the inconsistency or probably any hash set problem again. If you take a look at the repeaters here, you see that those ones clearly go off before, and it's just that they all go off at the same tick. So if I turn this off, or Ruby actually demonstrates this very well, they always go off in the same moment. So just over here it starts that suddenly some of these comparators do have a delay of 1 game tick. But I guess this will be changed again as well. So I am looking forward to the changes and to all the fixes, and we will probably have a very bug-free redstone version in the future. Okay, this maybe we should change today again. Thank you very much. Detector rail always standing power.
Yeah, I can explain this.
Yeah, please explain this.
It's basically that detector rails are quite buggy. If they are connected to any full blocks in a way, they will send power to them. As you can see on these torches and stuff, they will send power through. But redstone that is directly connected to the detector rail will not get power, or will get power in a normal way. And others don't care about the state of the detection rail, except for pistons, because they are now powered. Just try to update them, they are still powered. But if you give them a signal and you update them, you will see that they retract and are actually retracted. And you can just do like that, and they are back.
Yeah, so they are somehow inverted. That's the point. Over here you can see another interesting bug. I just hooked up 3 of the comparators here to a normal pulse shortener, which should obviously normally shorten the pulse, but if I press the middle one here, the right piston actually gets a single pulse, but not the left one. So it's depending on the direction which of these gets a single pulse. I don't know, maybe this is actually intended, but it's definitely just worth mentioning it. And yeah, now we went through the bugs we found so far, but over here we got some very interesting further changes in behavior which we also discovered. And this is that the comparator doesn't actually only process the signal strength, but as well the kind of signal, so the signal source. There are actually 3 times, a block can be either weakly powered, strongly powered, or there's also something in between, which I would call medium power. The point is, if I have, let me quickly build this up, redstone going into these lamps here. These are obviously weakly powered, so they can't power further blocks. The middle one is what I would call medium powered, because it can power other blocks, but it cannot power another redstone. If I put a repeater or a cooperator in front of it, it would be strongly powered. And the comparator, yeah, so the redstone also goes on, which is nothing new. But the comparator does actually save this. So, if the redstone block here is in this state, this block here is only medium powered, and therefore, at the output, only the 2 sides with the comparator or the repeater at the end get turned on, but not the left side. If I now switch it over, also the right side turns on, because the comparator now does have the stronger signal. I can actually directly update it as well. So if I have it at the left side, let's just press it again, and add a redstone power block over here, you will see that the other wire turns on as well. So although nothing changes in these comparator blocks, it internally changes the way of power, or the kind of power, which is pretty interesting. So you can run several signals through the same wire pretty much. Over here I just hooked a button to change between the 3 states. This is off, medium power and strong power. Just to mention it, this is pretty cool actually. Over here we got the fixed redstone north-south quirk, or I actually don't know, is it the northeast quirk, but you see that these towers just turn on and off at the same speed, no matter in which direction they are facing. So that got fixed. There are no torches skipping ticks anymore, which is very awesome and makes stuff much more consistent. Yeah, I like this feature a lot. And there's also another interesting bug which got fixed, and that's that the pistons aren't getting updated by this pulse shortener setup here when there's no repeater adjacent to it. So if I, for example, place a repeater over here, you will see that the piston always receives a single pulse. Before you had to place another 1-tick repeater behind it to actually update the wire, or you could also place the repeater somewhere else, but it had to be updated somehow, because otherwise the wire would just retract after 1.5 redstone ticks. That means 3 game ticks. But now it always receives a single pulse, which makes stuff more compact and simpler. And the last change, or not the last, but the second last change I wanted to mention here, torch towers can now handle pulses of 2 ticks only. You can see?
Yes. Sorry.
No problem. Single pulses still don't work, but 2-tick pulses can now be processed and work as a charm in both directions. At least as far as my testings go, you can clearly see that always 2 repeaters are on, so that is a 2-tick signal which gets processed through the torches. And now about the change which CubeHamster probably dislikes a lot.
Yeah, that's not. Yeah.
Yeah, just saying.
Not only Cube.
A lot of people. Redstone updates do not cause block updates anymore, at least in certain cases. So a redstone lamp does not update the piston here anymore. You have to manually update it. Same goes for the trapdoors. Same goes for the fence gates. But a powered rail still updates it.
Pointless though.
Pointless though, because you can't place it above.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, but just to mention here, that's actually pretty interesting. I would like if they actually reverse this again, but maybe they will do. We'll never know. I asked Dinnerbone and he said that this is actually a feature now because they completely rewrote the code of updating blocks. Yeah, but we'll see. We will might have to adjust this, but I guess this is pretty much everything we found out so far.
I found out something else.
Okay, yeah, I would like to know this. Please explain.
Okay, so this is something I've been using for a while. It's the Redstone lamp block update. The lamps are activated now, and before updating the lamp would cause a chain reaction, causing everything to update that's wrong. Because as you can see, the lamps are not powered, but they are powered, and the repeater's powered, even though it's not. But now it only updates, it doesn't transfer the update. So now this updates one lamp, and then this updates the next lamp. And then if you update the repeater, then so it doesn't transfer, which is kind of sucky.
I actually guess that
bad
this
way.
will get fixed because it doesn't really make sense that the updates don't update other blocks anymore because the,
Yeah, well, that's this,
the-
but that's the same with this. Like these two things, like the fact that this stuff doesn't update it, and the fact that this stuff doesn't
It's
has
the
to
same.
do with each other. It's the same thing.
yeah.
Like the updates don't transfer anymore.
Yeah, but as we know, this is only a test snapshot, so things
True.
might get changed. We'll see in the
True.
future. Let's hope that Dinnerbone sees this and actually might think about the way the block updates work again. But
And
anyway,
don't use your ender pearl elevators, you will die.
I think we can end this video by just taking a look at what's in this chest here. And if someone now destroys the chest, the server will crash.